And aloha! Welcome to the Blue Note Fan Report. I'm Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, and I'm your host on the only program that is by a fan, for the fan, and absolutely about you, the fan.
So are you Guy or Guy?
Ed Danowski.
You're not in Hawaii?
I wish.
To Mr. Garry Unger.
Hi, Guy.
Hey, sir, how are you?
And Brock, how are you doing?
Doing great, sir. Doing great. Honored to have you on the show.
You know, I had the privilege while I was in the forces, in the Canadian Armed Forces, to take the Stanley Cup to Afghanistan. Only hockey fans would deploy to Afghanistan where it's 105 to 135 degrees every day, and they'd take their hockey sweaters and play ball hockey. This is a year for the Leafs. The Leafs are going to win it all this year. One of the players down the line said, "You got to be kidding. The Taliban got a better chance of winning the cup."
It's your St. Louis Fan Report. I'm Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, and I'm joined today by my co-host, a man who loves to stir the pot. He's the Stagg in the Stagg. He's Rob Staggenborg.
I don't know where you get this thing. Like, it's like a wrestling intro. Like, I'm totally not a wrestling guy. But
it doesn't matter, though. You got to admit, it's good. It's good. It's good.
It's kind of like
look at this. We got Blues Fan React saying hi. We've got, oh my goodness, I'm so excited for some off-season news from Ryan Green, and you got to thank Ryan. Ryan has been an absolute, just a big thank you to me. I love this guy. Oh man, we got Jordan saying hi. Our shipping agent, goalie mask guy. You know what? I love you, my friend. Hey, can you give us an update on our mask? So everybody kind of knows, and I got to get some pictures. If you can you try and get some pictures of where we're at so I can show them? I think people will really love that, bud.
I also want to circle back around and do a story with you for the website. So let's definitely keep that on top of the mind. Okay.
Oh yeah. Let's get a story for him on my site, right? Not
exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Love it, man. I might have to go to the Blackhawks versus Blues preseason game in Kansas. Man, I would love to go to that. I'll tell you, buddy, I would. We got Windy City here. We got McGongle, who can't wait for me to get in. Jordan saying hi to Mason. This is great. Chris Shockley, cards up 1-0 on the Baby Bears. We love that. No blue stuff for Grandma here. You know what, Brad? Look at my website. Go to the shop. You buy your stuff, and we'll work on the shipping for you, okay? We'll work on the shipping. Buy some of the stuff that we got, And we'll work on that. And not only that, Brad, I'm going to be in St. Louis, right, on my trip. You keep talking to me and we'll get some sense, right? Jordan saying hi to Chris and hi to Mason saying hi back. And then we've got James Anthony, lots of trades. Yeah, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Wow,
a lot of stuff going on. The one that I think is most interesting out there, and it is intriguing, but if I'm Seattle, I don't do it, but it's the taking Tarasenko, trading him to Philly for Voracek,
yeah.
and I think a draft pick,
second and third,
plus picking somebody else. Yes, there are chances of Hoffman staying. I got to be real careful how I say this. I know that Hoffman wants to stay, and that's a fact. Whether or not he stays is going to depend on free agency. He's going to test the market, and I'm going to leave it at that. I know he's going to test the market, but I can't say that he's going to go away. Hey, guys, by the way, I didn't get a chance to share this in any of the groups. If you're out there, could you share this in the lounge or some of the other groups and things like that? We got a real special guest coming up at the half-hour mark at the bottom of the hour, Joe Fresta. Yes, I said it right. I've been practicing all freaking day. If you guys screw me up, I'm going to hang up and never talk again.
No. I love Joe Fresta. He's a great dude, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, so if you guys start that crap that you pulled yesterday, saying all these different names to F me up,
nope.
We're going to have it out, man. We're going to have it out. Not today, buddy.
Joe, tell you what, Joe Fresta is a straight shooter. I'm excited.
Oh, yeah. He's going to be audio only. He's going to call in. I've got my phone set up. Chris, why would he? Well, first of all, there's some cohesion that he saw in the locker room that he liked. And I think that with the loss of Tarasenko, with the loss of a few other players, Schwartz being one, that he's going to have to move up to that second line. No matter what Berube wants to do, he can't keep him down there. And I keep hearing this, and I heard this a couple of times during the season. Oh, the coaches don't look at it as like a 1, 2, 3, 4. BS. Because if you didn't look at it like that, then the ice time would be even all the way around. 60 divided by 4 is what? 15 or something like that, somewhere around there.
They said there'd be no math.
Right? Well,
they said there'd be no math.
Well, no. So 20 divided by 4 is 16.
Yeah, I got you.
Right? So every forward would have 16 minutes of ice time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's not the case.
Nope.
Some forwards have 20 minutes. Some have 13 minutes. Some have 14 minutes. All of that. Can you send me to your website? Yes, Brad. It is stlfanreport.com. You'll see it scrolling at the bottom here. And then on the far right side, you will see shop. Click on that, and it'll take you to my shop, right?
Yep.
Order your stuff, send a message to the email that's there, and we'll work on shipping with you. It's going to be a little more than what it is, but order stuff there from me, guys. And you know what? If you want to support the show now, first of all, get it shared out today. Everybody share it out. Share it out so we can go there. Mm-hmm. Brad also asked about Landeskog rocking the note next season. That's a possibility. And you know what? I see it as a bigger, you know what? You know why I see it as a possibility more than I would have thought originally?
Why? Because you were kind of on it last week. You were kind of about it.
Yeah, I was. But now I'm seeing well, first of all, I don't want to pay him what he wants. Mm-hmm. Right? And he's got to realize in a flat cap era, he's not going to get what he wants.
Okay.
Right? But what I do like is the disdain he has picked up for the Avalanche. We're going to see the Avalanche 5 to 6 times next season. Right?
Okay.
4 to 6 times, somewhere between 4 to 6. Oh, hey, happy birthday, Mason. We'll take care of that here in a little bit. Between 4 and 6.
Damn it. Mason, you ruined it.
Well, hold on. So hold on. So between if now I'm lost. What are they talking about?
Mason's birthday. You're going to sing happy birthday.
No, before Mason's birthday. Oh, I got a call coming in. Unfortunately. Hey, Rob, can you take this for a few minutes? I'm going to mute me out.
Yep. So I'll tell you a couple things that we've been talking about this week is number one, the deals. And what an interesting time of the year. Deals are popping all over the place. Again, deals that are going through, that's another story. But boy, some of the names going out there, and I think the Kraken, this is something that we're not really seeing. What we're really seeing for the first time ever is this sort of situation with the Kraken affecting this whole situation with the player movement to the level it's done this year. So, again, the name out there that we're comfortable saying is obviously Vladimir Tarasenko. But boy, you look at the rest of the list, and there's some great names on there. Gabriel Landeskog, we talked about him. Ovechkin was actually left unprotected. Again, him and his $9 million contract. So I think the big question becomes, what do they do with the salary cap? And I know a good friend of ours, Sly Fox, we were doing the cap-friendly, the expansion draft with the cap-friendly widget that they had going on there. And it's not as easy as you think as you want to start trying to pound people within that salary cap. Again, Carey Price became available. He was not protected. Can you imagine the price that no pun intended, but the price that he will bring in sort of this sort of environment. Chris Dredger is another name that comes to mind. Just up and down the list. I mean, you don't think the Kraken will definitely have a good team. So if they're not good, then I would think that that's really a result of them and their talent scouts and how they actually evaluate talent. So again, really interesting seeing how this all turns out. Again, I think the deadline is tomorrow, so we should kind of know what's going to happen with that team, and then we can all kind of move on. Everybody's kind of wanting to know with Tarasenko and what's going on here, and just players up and down the list. Just causes a lot of disruption in the off season, and it becomes a little bit different. And again, I'm not sure how can you be a member of the Blues knowing that they left you unprotected and just really not feel it a little bit, I know it's a big boy thing and you just go and you play, but it just kind of, to me, it seems to be just a little bad business to be able to say, hey, I'm pretty much, F off. We don't want you, but hey, by the way, we want you now. So. Okay,
we're back. I'm sorry about that, guys. I apologize for the thing. So let's get this out of the way right here, right now. Happy birthday, Mason. 21. Can't wait to see you in St. Louis. Oh, I got Tom Franklin here. Oh, my buddies from. Hey, Toasted. When are you going to have me on? I've been waiting. I want to be on a Toasted show soon, buddies. So, yeah, he's got the dogs barking. So he's doing it. He's just using that as an excuse so he doesn't have to hear this. Happy birthday to Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mason. Happy birthday to you.
Like you say, Mason, I'm so effing depressed right now.
No, he's not. He loved it. He did. He did. Absolutely, he did. There we go. And so let's get back. Let's see, right there. You can all kiss my rear end.
Why are you not playing Radio City Music Hall?
There we go. Tears in my eyes. Thank you. Yeah. So thankful because we love you, Mason. We absolutely love you, and we love Tom. We love it all. See, he's on my side for a change.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So what did I miss while you were talking, Ron?
Well, I was going to talk about who is being left unprotected and like if you're a player, how do you move forward with your team when they've left you?
You know what? First of all, a lot of the guys that were left unprotected were unrestricted free agents.
Yeah, we talked about
Ovechkin.
We mentioned
that's a real important thing to look at. So the Washington Capitals left Alex Ovechkin unprotected. So what does that mean? Well, it means that they could pick him up. Seattle could pick him up, but they only got till the 28th to negotiate with him. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If he doesn't sign with Seattle, he can sign anywhere. So he could go right back to the Capitals and they lose that pick. Now I'll tell you what. This is where if you got a real tight set, you make a deal with them where you'll trade them something later, a draft pick, some draft picks or something later that you'll work with them.
Yeah.
But you get them to do that so you don't lose a player. Now I think the league might step in if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. But for the most part, I'm pretty well convinced that that's not going to happen, that they're not going to take any free agents. Now, they have until tomorrow at draft time to negotiate with a free agent. And if they sign him, they sign any free agent, that free agent comes off the team's draft list.
Yeah.
So that's the player that they get from your team.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, there is the only... quick, can Landeskog still talk to the Avs, or do you have to wait till the 28th when free? Yes, you can still negotiate with your team. Yes, you can still negotiate with your team up until 28th. Mm-hmm. You can always negotiate with your team. Guy, I was talking, so I didn't hear you sing, so I'm still able to hear you. Hey, I thought it was pretty good this time.
Of
Ashley's
course
telling Rob hi.
The only person who thinks you do good is you.
No, Mason.
Yeah,
Mason, he said it right here. Said it right here.
Wink,
Hush,
wink.
Rob. It was gorgeous. And it's in
Wink,
capital
wink.
letters. Well, he can wink all he wants, but I'm happy for it, When you see I've embarrassed Chef. I'm not sure what that is there, Brad. So the things that I think he did fantastic, Rob. He's doing it again. So there we go. And if he's winking, he's winking. 30 teams in the league should be the last team. If they do more teams, that has to be an even number. Well, Ryan, actually what I see happening right now is I could see 2 more coming in. I really could, right? One of the things that I'm looking at is they need to expand to Quebec. Quebec is dying for a team. Mm-hmm. And the last thing they want to do, because right now they're evened up in the East and the West, right? And they haven't been even for a while. So this balance is what they're looking for.
Okay.
What I think they would do now is if they put a team in Quebec, they would look at putting a team somewhere on the West, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. There's a couple of places that I'm looking at now that I think would be, and we've talked about it before. I think Oklahoma City could support a team. I think, what's that? Not Bismarck, that other big city in
Sioux Falls?
No, not Sioux Falls. We talked about it before. They have a big old zoo. It's where the one guy that does all the money is from.
San Diego?
No. God, it's in like Nebraska or Kansas or something like that. Omaha. That's it. Omaha. Oh, no. I'll tell you what, with the money that guy puts into Omaha, I mean, their zoo, the visitors they get just from their zoo and some of that, Omaha's becoming one of them cities that people are looking at.
All right, I'm gonna
you know what, Ryan? That's not a bad name there. Oklahoma City Twisters. I would love seeing that. Right? Kansas City's getting close to having a team. Right? I think the only thing stopping Kansas City from having a team right now is St. Louis. To be honest with you. Just add another Toronto. I don't think so. Brad Paulman saying Jake Wallman. I don't know what he means there. Maybe it's something he said earlier. Brad, I'll talk to you offline, Brad. Sometimes you say things that I don't completely understand. I don't know if you're using voice to text or if you have an issue or something. Let me know so I understand what's going on, man. It just makes it a little easier for me. Wallman, I hope so. I don't see Wallman getting. I'll tell you what. Wallman's not the name I'm worried about losing. There is a name out there that I am worried about losing. I think the owners have to. Oh, they do have to agree on expansion. And I'll tell you what. That $1 billion. Or 500 million, 600 million, whatever it is. Yeah, that goes into their pockets or into the league pockets. They absolutely take that. Okay. They absolutely take that. So what I'm thinking right now is the name that scares me the most is Mikkola. Right?
Okay.
If we lose Mikkola.
Which
Okay,
I
we
don't
do a
disagree
story.
with where you're going with on this. I
Right?
agree
If
with
we
you.
lose Mikkola, we have got to turn around immediately and work a trade.
Yep.
We have to immediately work a trade. You cannot let Mikkola go.
Mhm.
The league is getting faster. We can't get slower.
That's right.
Right? And we talked about Thursday, you and me are going to battle royal on our stories, right? The stories that you and me put out. We're going to battle royal on Tarasenko. We're going to battle royal.
It might be, I might have to push it to Friday. I got to talk to you ahead of time about something.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. We can always move that to Friday.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I don't think Friday was just going to be an open phones Friday, so we'll make it an open phones Thursday. We can do that, right?
Okay. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah, but
and Ryan, that's a really good point. Really good point, right? So I'll tell you what. There's a lot of unknowns, and we're going to see how this expansion goes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they want this expansion team to be successful, but not Vegas successful. They don't want this expansion team in the finals. I'll tell you that straight up. If they wanted them in the finals, they wouldn't have changed anything from the last expansion draft. And one of the things they changed was the draft picks.
okay.
Right? They changed you giving up draft picks in deals. You had to give up players. Right? And that absolutely changed because what ended up happening is Vegas not only got 30 players, they got 6 extra draft picks. They had 15 draft picks.
Yep.
Something like that. They had a just an amazing amount of draft picks. And that set them up, not just for that first year, but as they've moved on, they're starting to bring up. Hell, they drafted Suzuki. They got to be kicking themselves in the rear
Yeah. Oh my God.
for
yeah,
getting rid of
yeah.
Suzuki, right? Suzuki's going to be a star in this league. Don't sit there and think that he's not. Suzuki's going to be an absolute star in this league.
Mhm.
The Blues right now are at a crossroads. They are at a crossroads.
Okay.
And what we do in the next few weeks is going to determine what kind of season this is going to be, right? There are a lot of things going on right now that I don't completely know, and that a lot of us don't know. But we want to have this positive attitude about our teams, and I do have this positive attitude. But at the same time, and I put this out to somebody who had said something. I said, if you're a realist, you have to look at this team and go, because right now, I'll tell you what, there are 2 contingents in Blues fandom. There is Army and Chief aren't seeing eye to eye, and it's Army's fault.
Okay.
And then there's Army and Chief aren't seeing eye to eye, and it's Chief's fault. Right? And when I say that, and I know right away which ones are on Army's side and which ones are on Berube's side.
Mhm.
Because the ones on Berube's side call him Chief. The ones on Army's side call him Berube. I know it right away. I've seen the post. I put up the polls. I'm trying to get Reddit to be a little bit more Blue Note fan report friendly. I'm really working on that. It's not easy.
Sure.
Oh, by the way, you know what? You can help Reddit out. If you go on Reddit and you sign up, look for hockey articles. That's my group. You can help me by going on there and sharing stuff from there. Right?
Huh.
Look at it. That's one way to do it.
Cool.
Oh, by the way, tomorrow I get to order my camera.
Ooh, hey.
I'll have it by next week. It's going to be sweet. It's going to be sweet.
Be a star, baby.
Oh man, hey Rob, it's going to be sweet. I'm watching the clock because we got about 5 minutes to Joe. 5 minutes to Joe. 5 minutes to Joe. Ryan Green says 100% stand behind Armstrong. Sam is on.
Hey,
Right?
Sam.
Glad to have you, Sam.
Good to see you.
Ashley saying she's on Team Army. Sam's on Team Army. And see, look, Rob, I know exactly where you stand. And what I want to do, and I'm going to work on this. By the way, if you guys notice, I'm wearing my Haley shirt. Please check out the website. check out the Hey page, Legacy for Hey page under community. Read the story if you haven't. If you have, read it again. Every read is important. Go out there, share it with your friends. Let's get this word out there. Because we'll talk about, after Joe, we'll talk a little bit. We got some extra time tonight. We might hit the 2-hour mark tonight. And if we do, we do. If Rob can stick around, he can. If he can, he can't. But we're having fun with you guys. Share this out. Let's get more than 5 people watching us. This is the Blue Note Fan Report. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Please share the show out. This is Guy. I'm the Hawaii Blues fan. Oh, I'll mention this in a second. And I'm joined by Rob, the Staggenborg. I sent out, if you look in the Blue Note, or not Blue Note, if you look on the Hawaii STL Blues Fan Clan, they did an article on me in a Hawaii website, Bedrock Sports. Cool. Right? We're picking up steam, guys. We're rolling. Rawhide, baby. We're rolling. This show is hot. It's what you need to be watching. I cannot wait to do live shows. I absolutely cannot wait to do live shows. Right? I'm excited about it. I want to get there. I want to go. I want to, when I'm there, I'm asking each and every one of you guys to weeknights, weekends, whenever I'm doing it, to get out there and really watch it.
Yep.
Ryan Green says, Army's been around and has done a great job. Berube is often too for me at seniority. See, here's my fault. Here's my thing. Army signed best players available. Not the players that could fit the system because they weren't available.
Okay.
Right? That's the thing that I'm sitting on, is that he signed the best players available. Okay. Berube, they're not the players that you like. I get it. Absolutely get it. Now here we got a team Berube here, and I like it. Army's ego destroying the Blues organization. He built up the 2019 Cup brand. Berube has to deal with Army put in a uniform. Okay, here's the problem. And you know what? You make a great point, Brian. You make a great point. He has to deal with it. He has 2 choices. He can either say, F them, I don't care, I'm going to stick with my way and do it the way I want, whether we're successful or not. Or B, he can say, okay, I got this guy who works better here. I got that guy that works better there. I got this guy that works better there. I'm going to work my system around these guys. If he'd have done that from the get-go, this team finishes first or second in the division, and we make it to the Western Conference Finals. Absolutely, I believe that could have happened. We make it to deep into the second round or deep into the third round. I don't say that we're a cup team, but I say that we had the talent, even with the injuries. We still had the talent if it was used right. If we would have used our speed, it would have worked. Okay, so Brian, I got to tell you something right now. There's something going on that I don't think a lot of you guys understand, and especially this expansion draft shows it. So Brian says Army didn't keep Eddie and didn't pay Petro, so he didn't sign the best. Well, first of all, Eddie wanted out. I know that for a fact. Edmondson wasn't getting played enough. He didn't feel like Berube was going to continue to play him. He was going to keep him down, and did that. Okay? No. So I'm going to talk to Brian here, and I only got a couple minutes before I got to call Joe, Brian. So actually, Brian, what I'm going to do, I'm going to have you on hold with this story, and after we talk to our guest, I'll bring back and talk to you more because I really want to get into this. Rob, can you take over for a few minutes while I try and connect this phone call up?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to back out, guys. Rob's going to come in. I'm going to put me on mute and try and get this phone connected. Once I do, we'll be back, and I can't wait.
Well, I'm going to tell you, guy's full of shit. Oh, sorry. I knew I'd get him here. Well, I just disagree with him, man. I just think he's like, the targets of Army and Berube, I think are just, I don't think they're well placed. So Berube, I think this is his year. He's got to show that he can take a team and compete in this year's NHL. Doug Army, he put the places in there. You can't really just a year ago, we were saying he was a genius and he was the architect of the cup team. You don't lose that in 2 years. I don't think so. So, is he a genius? Did he, just happen to luck into a situation that ended up becoming a Stanley Cup? He had the players. The players put it on their shoulders and made that happen. I know Guy, again, I wish he was here to defend himself because he brings out things like, Eddie didn't want to be here. Patrick didn't want to be here. Well, wait a minute. Where are you getting that from? Where was that reported? Like, if you have some inside sources, then that's one thing. Then qualify this as that's an inside source telling you. And again, when he comes back on, I will tell him this because I think that's crazy that he just kind of throws these things out there and say, oh, the locker room's, a total fucking mess. Army doesn't own the locker room. Well, that's maybe not true. I don't know that could be attributed to a large group of players, maybe one player, maybe an agent. Where's it coming from? Even if it's a general thing. If Guy would say, I have an agent that I'm talking to who says Berube has lost the locker room. Well, that carries a little bit more credence with me and hopefully with you than Guy just saying, oh, the locker room's divided. I know because I got a guy who told me that it's divided. I mean, that doesn't fly. People need attribution. They need to know where the stuff is coming from because things are coming a million miles a minute on Twitter. You look at Twitter, it's crazy. So many things coming at you every minute. So to be able to discern all this, you have to know where it's coming from. So again, sometimes I just want to shake guys, I just want to slap them and say, dude, where are you getting this from? Where is this coming from? Okay, so you talk about Berube not having the room and that players aren't happy with Berube. Well, you're the only one kind of reporting that. I'm not really seeing that in any of the other reports. Now, I get it. Maybe you have some sources that other people don't. Where I stand, just as a fan who's taken in all the media, I don't have any special access. I don't have any special sort of, person that I call for information, any inside source. I just take what the media is giving me and try to make sense of it. But I kind of wonder, where are you getting these sources from? Who are these people? Why don't they attach their name to it? If Tarasenko has wanted to be out of here for a freaking year, well, whose name does that go to? Who's saying that? Is it just somebody in Tarasenko's camp? I mean, I think that's kind of BS. This whole story about him not being happy about not being named the captain. And apparently that was the story, according to Lance of the Drop Hockey Cast, good friend of ours on the show. So that was traced back to a Russian reporter who's been known to be a bit of a muckraker and, kind of stirs the pot. And so now all of a sudden that Vladimir Tarasenko is moody and because he didn't get the captaincy. And personally, I don't really see him as a captain type of player. I don't see him as that rah-rah guy. So
okay, rah-rah, you done telling me that I'm full of it?
No, but I'm going to ask you now because this is what we're talking about.
You can do that in a little bit. So, hey, everybody, let's bring in a legend in St. Louis. This is a man that needs no introduction. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Joe Fresta. Joe, welcome to the show.
Hey, well, thanks for having me, guys. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Can you hear him, Rob?
I can hear him great, Joe.
Okay, so we got it working. I finally got my phone working right. Yay, guy! Joe, you host your own show called the Hockey Mafia, and I know that you're big into the scene. I actually found your on the hockey database. You played minors for 1 year, is that right?
Well, I played college hockey in Wisconsin, and that was the extent of my career. But yeah, that's
Come
it.
on, Joe. Don't give us that. Joe was the star of the CBC team in the 80s that included Chris Saraceno, Chris's Pancake House, John Jost, who's the coach of the CBC team, Bob Jakiewicz, some legendary names, and Joe Fresta was right in the middle of it because I went to school and I cheered those guys on, man. Joe, great to hear from you, man.
Well, thanks. Yeah, we had some great teams back in those days at CBC, and they actually won the school's first hockey state championship. Of course, they've gone on to win many, many, many more. with my great teammate and friend John Jost as the head coach.
Oh man, that's cool. I love having you guys talk on. So I've had I have Joe, or not Joe. You know how my mind goes sometimes. Tom Facchetti, who played a lot of hockey, probably right around the time you did, right? Sure. I know you know him. And then I have another guy whose name I'm so bad with names. So you don't know how much trouble I had trying to pronounce your name for the last 3 days.
I know, it's crazy.
Right? I've been getting killed trying to pronounce your name. There's another guy I'm going to try and look him up real quick that I know you know him. He's been on my show not on my show, but he's a huge supporter of me.
Jim Siegel.
Say again?
Jim Siegel.
Yeah, Jim. Yeah, Jim Siegel.
Sure.
Yeah. So you know, that's some of the support I have, and I know that they've talked to you, and I can't wait. Ryan Green's asking a great question. I know you can't see, but he's saying, do you have a trading card of yourself?
I do not. I do not.
You know what? We got to get one made.
Nor do I have a bobblehead.
Well, you know what? I have a bobblehead of myself. I got that from one of my fans. I got that from one of my fans. You know, I know you can't see it, but when you look at the show, if you look at this shoulder, kind of where let me see my finger and get it right there next to Layla.
Okay.
Right next to Layla, you can kind of see it. That's there we go. It's right there. That's me right there. So when you get a chance to look at this live, you can see it. That's me right there. So we can get you a bobblehead, Joe, if we need to. You know,
doesn't seem the type.
Right? Sam Mazzella says you hit it big when you're having a bobblehead. You know, well, I wish I had more than one, but I'll take it. No, hey Joe. So I know you've been following this situation with the Blues a lot, and I know you love hockey, and I know you love the Blues. What is your take with what's going on with the Tarasenko saga and the Blues soap opera?
Well, I think that's a marriage that's been sour for a long period of time, probably longer so than the average fan probably knows about. But you know that started when he first came here. I mean, we could go back to Coach Yo when he coached the St. Louis Blues. He was just one of those players that was very difficult to rein in. Wasn't a guy that would like to go along with the plan. A lot of people don't know it, but you know, there's a lot of set plays in hockey. It's a little bit like football, and there's in certain situations, players need to be in certain areas of the ice, maybe covering another player, maybe not. And he just wasn't a guy that would adhere to an assignment and whatnot. So, you know, he just was a hard guy to rein in. You know, they had the same problem with David Perron on his first go around. It took him 3 stints of duty to finally figure it out. And of course, now he's an excellent team player and a 200-foot player. He plays both ends of the ice and does what he's supposed to do out there, and he's just become a tremendous hockey player and a great leader on that team. A big part of that Stanley Cup team in 2019. And of course, he had gotten some experience playing on that Vegas Golden Knights team that went all the way to the Cup. Didn't win it, but you know, that's invaluable for players who can get that kind of experience and knowing what it takes to win a Cup.
Oh yeah, I'm absolutely with you on that. But see, I don't know. I have a different opinion of this. I kind of think that to me, I look at Tarasenko in almost the same vein that I look at Brett Hull, right? Mm-hmm. Brett Hull was one of those guys. He didn't care what the set play was. He knew what his job was. His job was to put the puck in the back of the net, and he was going to do it his way. I didn't have a problem with that because we put the puck in the back of the net.
Well, when you score 86 goals in one season, you can kind of get away with that kind of thing.
Yeah, okay, and that's fair enough.
Tarasenko hasn't done anything like that, much less be in the lineup the last 2 years.
Well,
and so when you start, so I hear where you're going with that, but yeah, I mean, Brett, and I love Brett. He's a friend. He's a great hockey player, but he really didn't become a great hockey player, a full hockey player until he went down to Dallas and played on those Hitchcock teams in Dallas. Of course, there were plenty of other superstars on that team as well.
Yeah.
The likes of Mike Modano and Zuboff and some other players we could rattle off. I think their goaltender down there too. But he had to kind of get in line down there and do the team thing, and I think it worked out for the best for Brett, because he ended up winning, as you know, a few more Stanley Cups. He went on, played for the Detroit Red Wings and won a cup or two there. And so, it really made Brett Hull a complete hockey player, not just a goal scorer.
Yeah, that is an absolute true statement, and I will give you credit for that. First of all, before we go any further, we have a guy on here. One of my fans is Brian Buckholtz. He says he knows you. He went to DeSmet when you were at CBC, and he supports your 3-on-3 cancer care. So, we'll give you some time at the end to talk about that a little bit. Joe, I've told you, I'm coming into town, going to be there from the 17th of September all the way to the 13th of, the 17th of August to the 13th of September. I keep getting it mixed up. But we're going to be hopefully doing some shows in that. And I know you like late dinners, so maybe I can have you on one of my shows, and then I can go to one of those late dinners with you.
Yeah, we'll have to get together for a dish of pasta. How about that?
Oh, I absolutely love it, man. You and me, I know what I can't talk about, so I'll keep my mouth shut, because you know what I want to talk about.
No, you can talk about it. That's fine. But, you can certainly do that when you're in town. We'll go to the pasta house company, we'll break bread and get a couple dishes of pasta and talk hockey.
Oh yes, sir. I would absolutely appreciate that. That is just amazing. So I gotta ask you, with you being knowledgeable as you are about hockey and that, we have this argument on the show, and I don't want to say an argument, but there's two different schools of thought right now. With the Blue soap opera, one school of thought is this is Army's fault. Another school of thought is this is Berube's fault. Do you take a side on this, or do you have an opinion on this?
I would definitely say it's not Berube's fault at all. He's not the guy who puts the team together. That's Doug Armstrong. Okay. But with that said, when you lose a player like Jay Bouwmeester, and then Alex Pietrangelo, which I think they should have signed him. They should have kept him. But yeah, I think if you put a gun to my head and had to blame somebody, it would be it would have to be on Doug Armstrong's shoulders.
Okay. Well, my question to this is, and I'm not trying to be facetious here. I'm really not. I'm asking because of your knowledge. Isn't the coach's job to coach the players he has, to adjust to what he has and to make it work?
Yeah, he is. And I think, the other thing is too, he lost some veteran leadership there with Alex Steen and whatnot. And
okay.
And he's left with a younger core of players who maybe don't relate as much to a Craig Berube. He's more of an old school guy. Lunch pail type guy. He was one himself when he played in the league.
Yep.
And he's just one of those guys that he's a no BS guy and expects you to go through the wall for him every night. The younger player, and we can talk about this with all the different sports, professional sports. These young guys, these young athletes today are just, they're just in a world of their own, and they just beat to a different drum, and you have to motivate them differently. I mean, you can't berate it out of them. And with the amounts of money they make today too, it makes it even harder.
Yeah. Well, my thing is, and I know I'm taking a little bit of this up, but my thing is, there was a lot of times that we left Mikkola and Kyrou and Joshua and guys like that on the press box when they could have helped us with putting speed. And Joshua had some toughness out there. He was willing to show that he could be both a skill guy. Joshua proved to me he could be a number 2 center behind O'Reilly and be that two-way player that O'Reilly was. I really felt that. I know he's young, but he was proving it, but he spent too much time in the press box in my eyes. When we let Sanford, and I'm sorry, I got to pound on Sanford. Sanford made mistake after mistake after mistake but you never heard him called out. Heard Hoffman called out. You heard Tarasenko called out. We even heard O'Reilly called out, but you never heard Sanford called out.
Yeah, usually they really don't call out, so to speak, the young guys. You know, they kind of handle those guys with softer mittens, if you will. The brunt of blame usually goes on the older veterans and whatnot. But you named two players there. Joshua, yeah, I mean, he's your prototypical power forward, your centerman. I mean, they could definitely have used him, but, you know, I think there's just other players with more experience. And you talk about Kyrou too. And to my point earlier, he's another guy that I think the Blues they didn't trust him. And when you're in the playoffs, it's a much different game. And this was a guy who oftentimes held on to the puck a little too long, tried to stick handle by one more guy than he should have. He's going down that road of a young David Perron or even a Vladimir Tarasenko, if you will.
Okay.
So, you know, that I'll guarantee you that's why he sat in the press boxes, because he just wasn't a player you could trust in a playoff situation.
Okay.
He's a guy that likes to kind of go off and do his own thing. Now, granted, he is a special player. He's got great hands. He's got tremendous speed, but he just doesn't have that mature game yet. He doesn't bring that mature game that you can trust like you can in a veteran, especially in a playoff situation, in key situations, key games against really good teams.
No, you know, that's a great point. And I didn't think of that. I really didn't. Now, Ryan Green is asking, ask Joe if he thinks Berube kept Sanford in so much, why he kept Sanford in so much when he played poorly. He had a really good year last year. He started off slow, and then he started to come on a little bit. He started to show, you know, that he was going to, play. He was going to do the right things and whatnot. So I think he rewarded him in that way. And that's why I think you saw him tilt more towards him and give him a little more playing time. But, guys like, Joshua, I mean, he only had a couple, maybe 1-2 games up in the big show. You can't go with a young guy like that unless you absolutely have to in terms of an injury plagued team or whatnot. Yeah.
But I think I just think he felt like Sanford was maybe turning the corner again, and he could, keep that momentum going, into the playoffs, and that's probably why you saw him in the lineup.
Okay, I mean that's a fair point, and I want to give it out. I want to listen fairly. Rob, I'll let you ask a question before I take this whole conversation over.
Yeah, well, real quick, there's been a lot of radio silence about like Jaden Schwartz, and we heard so much about how he was valuable to the team. He's a guy we had to re-sign, and again, like I'm not really hearing his name anywhere. What do you think? I mean, do you think we need to re-sign him? Is he some guy we just need to let go? Where do you stand on Jaden Schwartz?
Well, it depends on the money. I mean, they've got this cap situation, and I think back to the Tarasenko thing. I think it depends a lot on whether they do indeed get rid of him and clear up some cap space and take that into consideration. I think it's a combination of things when you talk about Jaden Schwartz. I mean, he didn't have the greatest year this year. Mm-hmm. He's a small player. He's not real durable. He's had a lot of injuries. And so when you look at a guy like that long term, he's had a few good years, but he's also had a lot of wear and tear on a small body.
Sure.
And may not be worth the money long term to keep a guy like that around. So we'll see what happens. I think he's one of those players that's kind of on the fence depending on what happens in some other situations.
And what I'd want to jump in, and the reason why I asked that is because at the trade deadline, Doug Army came out and said that basically the Blues had put a higher value on their own players than the rest of the league, and they couldn't really find any deals. And that was a quote that came from his press conference. And I'm wondering, are we putting a higher value on Jaden Schwartz than really what the rest of the league is? And maybe are we seeing something the other 31 teams aren't? I mean, I'm kind of scratching my head here.
Well, they're always gonna put their players in a higher light, right? Because they want to put some more added value on their players so that other teams will think they're, someone they might want. I mean, you take that article, for instance, in the Post-Dispatch about Tarasenko having multiple offers for him from multiple teams, whatnot. I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't believe that. I don't believe that, because if that were the case, they would have made the trade and at least got something for him instead of just exposing him to the expansion draft and letting him go. So teams do things like that. They'll put propaganda or whatever you want to call it out into the media, out in the news feeds to try to entice other teams to maybe find a little more value in a player that maybe they don't have in order to move that player.
Well, I mean, that's great points. I mean, God, man, I love listening to you. Also, somebody had said they love your voice, and I do too. It's great to be on here. One of the things that I saw, and to me, when I look at that list, there's one name on there that jumped out at me, and it was Mikkola. If I'm Seattle, I'm scooping him up in a heartbeat. This is the kid that you can build a team around, I think. And Mikkola spent the majority of the time in the press box while Wallman played. Now, to me, that's where the problem lied with the whole system this time, was you saw guys that were better in the press box. Now, is that what you saw or not?
Well, I don't know. You talk about who the Kraken would take. I think I don't know that I don't think they'd go with Mikkola. I think they would probably go with Vince Dunn over him, because they really don't have anybody available to them that's that small mobile defenseman that can, he's a nifty skater, handles the puck well, and can get you out of your own zone with that one pass pretty readily. So I think they would probably opt for a Vince Dunn before they would a Nico Mikkola.
Oh, that's a good sign.
Player I think they take a look at is who you just mentioned was Sanford. I think he's a guy they would probably take a hard look at taking from the Blues as well.
Well, I mean, so there's in the chat room. There's a little thing going on about Falk. So Falk was brought in. They traded Edmondson for Falk from Carolina. Falk was brought in, and he had a rough time his first year up until the bubble. And in the bubble, Falk got it. It clicked, right? And it has clicked since then. Falk has moved himself to where he is a number 1 or 2 defenseman in my eyes. His defense, his offense, I mean, he's really moved up. With Pietrangelo leaving, and now you look at our defense of you have Krug, Falk, and Parayko. To me, we have a solid start to our defense that, if used correctly, and if Parayko's back is better, wow, we could be a shutdown team in my eyes.
Yeah, you talk about. I'll go back to Falk. I mean, he did have a rough initial year with the Blues, and it's really difficult for a guy to come in to a Stanley Cup championship team who was just traded for one of the guys that helped you win that cup. You just don't meld right in with everybody right away. It's a little bit more difficult. They have this tremendous accomplishment in common among each other. You were traded for one of those guys that they had that commonality with. And so it probably took him a while to get acclimated and be accepted by his teammates and make him so that way he would, feel a little bit more comfortable, around the locker room, on the ice, playing with his new teammates. And you saw what happened as soon as he got comfortable. He was just a different player altogether.
Yeah,
So,
something. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
absolutely, and I'll tell you, that's what it was. I mean, it's really difficult to walk into a locker room of a team that just won a Stanley Cup.
Mhm.
I mean, you've got to you've got to earn your way onto that team and show that you belong there. Because hey, man, we just traded one of our guys to get you, and you better show us what you got. And maybe that a little bit of that, he may have felt a little bit of that, and that maybe that pressure got to him a little bit and hindered his confidence a little bit out there, because he was not good. I mean, he was making some bad plays out there.
Yeah.
And but like you said, by the time they got into the bubble, this was their team, and they were spending a lot of time together in close proximity. He did finally get it together, and he was an entirely different player. And then again, during this season, he kept it right up. He was just a totally different player.
Yeah, he was almost the MVP of the team, to be honest with you, Mike. But before we go any further, I gotta stop you for a second, Joe. Roland Spink just showed up in the chat room, and I gotta take a moment to say our condolences, Roland. His father passed away this weekend. Roland, our hearts go out to you. Your father was a veteran, and anytime we lose one, we know they're going to wherever they're going to go, and they're going to regroup. So, Roland, our hearts go out to you. Our condolences go out to you and your family, and we just want you to know that we're thinking of you. So I wanted to say that, and I apologize about jumping in there, Joe, on you.
Oh, that's no problem. My condolences as well. Yeah, that's sorry for his loss, and it's tough. I know. So I'm sure everybody will say a little prayer tonight before they go to bed.
So hey, Brian Buckholtz asked, is Falk just as good as Petro?
No.
I say you look at the differences in their game. Petro's a better defender, but I think Falk's a better offender, a better offensive defenseman. I also think that Falk skates better than Petro.
I think Fox was in on the play.
No again. Not even close. Forget about it. Not even close.
Do you think Cairo's going to make that move on Falk that he made on Petro when he blew right by him?
I think what happened. You'll never see that again. I'll guarantee you that. I just, it's kind of like a hitter or a pitcher in Major League Baseball that comes in the league. Once they get a book on you, they know what's coming. Next time he'll know what's coming. He wasn't familiar with Kyrou, and he didn't know what his capabilities were speed wise. And you're right, he did blow right by him. There's no question about that. But I don't think Justin Falk is the player that Alex Pietrangelo is.
Okay, I mean that's a fair statement. I think offensive, like I said, I think offensively he's a little better. But we'll sit there. I'll defer to you, the expert and the player. I hope Justin Falk comes out and plays during the because I found out that I'm getting to go to the alumni camp. Right. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get to cover and skate in the alumni camp. I'm really excited about it. And I'm told that every now and then one or two of the players, if the training camp hasn't started yet or whatever, they'll come out and skate with you. So I'm looking forward to that. Sure. I'm looking.
What is that camp?
Yes, I do. The camp is September 9th to the 12th.
Oh, great.
Right.
Yeah, you'll really enjoy that. That'll be a great experience for you.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So what we're doing with that camp is we're going to cover it. I'm going to skate. Mm-hmm. Rob if Rob's not there, I'm going to get somebody to be my cameraman for me and cover it. We're going to interview the participants. We're going to interview some of the alumni and things like that. And we're just going to have a good time with it. And, I'm going to fall on my butt and get checked. And, I haven't skated in decades and haven't had a chance to skate here because the one ice rink is closed. And then the roller rink, somebody got COVID on Friday, so they're closed for a week. Figures.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I got to hopefully.
you're gonna have to get mic'd up, buddy.
Oh yeah, we're working on that. They have the mic, the camera system there at Centurion, and we're going to try and see if we can use that and get me mic'd up a little bit, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Brian says he's going to be there too. Oh, absolutely, great, man! I love it.
Oh man,
yeah, this will be fun.
You'll really enjoy skating with a lot of those guys. I know I grew up skating with them before I went off to training camp in college, and before they went off to training camp. When they were playing, so
one of your buddies,
all great guys.
One of your buddies, and one of you want to talk about, has told me that since I'm going to be there, he's going to come. And the person I'm talking about is Garry Unger.
Oh yeah.
You wanted to talk about Garry. You wanted to talk about Garry a little bit. Yes, he has become a absolute friend of this show. Yep. I mean, he's asked me to come on the show. He's the only person I've had, of all the people I've talked about, said, "Hey, can I come on the show again? I want to talk about something." Oh, absolutely, anytime. And you, I appreciate you coming on. What are some of your memories of him, just as not as a skater or as a player, but as a friend and a person, and what he's done for the St. Louis area? Because I know that you both have a big connection to this area.
Well, I'll go back to just, being a boyhood fan of the St. Louis Blues, and my father taking me to my first Blues games at the old arena. I'll never forget those days. I mean, and the one guy that I keyed in on and watched an awful lot was Garry Unger. And he was basically the player that made me want to play hockey. I mean, he made, want to tell my dad, after going to a few of these games, I was hooked. And I said, look, I want to play this game. And so I know I'm dating myself, but he took me to Geesford Jordan Sporting Goods store. It was right across the street from the Esquire Theater. I don't know if any of your
I remember
listeners remember that old sporting goods store on Clayton Road there. But bought me all the equipment and oddly enough, signed me up to play youth hockey at Steinberg Ice Rink in Forest Park. And that ended up being the site of my my outdoor pond hockey tournament that I did for my cancer foundation for so many years. But Garry was the reason a lot of young guys my age started playing hockey. I remember being in line once you made the team. There was a line to get your uniform, and guys would literally be fighting over number 7.
Yeah,
I'm not lying to you. I mean, everybody wanted to wear that number 7, and it was because of Garry Unger.
I know. I can actually see that.
He had a profound influence on youth hockey in St. Louis, and an awful lot of players started to play the game and continued to play the game because of Garry. Yeah. And of course, he went on and played, close to 10 years with the St. Louis Blues, set the Ironman record. And then another outside the Blues thing, he started his career playing with Gordie Howe, and he ended it playing with Wayne Gretzky in Edmonton.
Yeah, he's told us some stories about that. He was like, you know what? I don't want to be the number 2 center anymore because I'm not getting any ice time. He talked to us about that. That was pretty fun. He is a great guy. Go ahead, Rob.
Hey, Joe,
he was a tremendous hockey player. I mean, Dad and I used to talk. He said, if that kid, my dad called him a kid. He said that if that guy played for the Montreal Canadiens, he'd score 50 plus goals a year. When 50 plus goals was rare back then. If you look at the stats for the entire 1970s, he was 9th in goals scored during the 1970s. Right up there with the likes of Phil Esposito, Guy Lafleur, Gilbert Perreault, Richard Martin, Jean Pronovost, Daryl Sittler. I mean, he was right up there. And then on the points board, he was 12th, right beneath who? Bobby Orr. So, with that said, in doing all that, he had 846 minutes in penalties. None of those guys ahead of him in either category was even close to that. So here's a guy who did an awful lot as a hockey player. He scored goals. He had assists. he showed up and played in every game, no matter if he was hurt or not. And he dropped the mitts for his teammates. Wasn't afraid to do it. I had a conversation with Derek Sanderson one time, and we were talking about Garry. And he said the first time he came in town with the Bruins, he got up in front of the locker room in front of everybody, Esposito or every one of them, and said, "Look, boys, I'm just going to tell you right now, he may not look like it, but you do not want to F with Unger. Don't do it."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no,
he let everybody know, because he told me a story one time that the two of them got into it in junior hockey in Canada, and it didn't end well for Derek Sanderson. So, and then of course they became teammates later on in the 70s on the St. Louis Blues. So, yeah, this is a guy who, no question, should have his number retired by the St. Louis Blues. There's no reason why his name and number shouldn't be up there, right along with all the other names and numbers that are already there. So,
I absolutely agree with you on. I really do. I agree with you on that. I actually, what I would love to see them do is take his number and have Bobby and Barclay right next to each other, and then have him sitting like right underneath them, like his number, so it doesn't separate them, but it's number 7 goes in line. I think that would be the connection between what that period was, because Unger was part of that that Plager period, in that understanding of what made the Blue Note. Plager, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they could probably put him on the other side of the 8.
Yeah.
I think that would probably work. And I understand keeping Bobby and Barkley together next to each other. It's perfectly understandable.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I'll get into a little bit about Garry on a personal level. He and I became friends maybe, I don't know, 10, 11 years ago. And he was very supportive of my cancer foundation and my tournament. Was my legend one year at my Legends of Hockey dinner series. I'll tell you another story. When we did Garry, we did all of my Legends dinners at Fleming Steakhouse in St. Louis. And on that particular night, nobody knew it, but Wayne Gretzky came. And Wayne showed up. He came in. He walked up to the bar. Nobody knew he was there yet. He nodded at me and nodded back, and he was there. It wasn't long before people at the bar kind of recognized who he was. I could hear the whispers back behind the booth where Garry and Darren Pang were already doing their thing. And then, of course, when Darren introduced that he had a special guest in the house, and he wanted to call him up, Wayne came down and around and walked out in front of the entire dining room. And I never saw so many flash bulbs go off in my life. I mean, it was incredible. But I'll tell you what the real testament was, and it was both to Garry and Wayne Gretzky, was that when Wayne got up in the center booth with Garry and Darren Pang, the whole time he talked about Garry and all of his accomplishments as a player, his Ironman record, and what a great leader he was and a mentor he was to a bunch of young guys named Messier, Gretzky, Coffey, and Fuhrer. And just went on. And it was really amazing how much he knew about Garry and everything, all the great things he had to say about him. And so after the night was over, they both hung around for autographs and pictures and whatnot. And it was, Garry was getting tired. So I kind of walked him out to his car. And as I walked back into the restaurant, was about to sit back down with Wayne and Darren, I heard Wayne say that, Garry Unger is probably one of the nicest people you ever meet in hockey. And I think that's probably, one of the greatest compliments a guy can get from a fellow NHL hockey player, especially a man of Wayne Gretzky's stature.
Yeah, I agree with you. And now I've got to speak with Grant Fuhr. I've spoken with Garth Butcher, who got to play with, Gretzky and on some of these, some of things that have played with the both of them. And, when you talk to them, the reverence that comes out with them. When I talked to Garry, the first time that we got to talk to him, first of all, I was completely flabbergasted that he would even sit down and talk with us. But it was like we were old friends to begin with. And the way I try and do my interviews is like two guys drinking beers, talking about hockey. And me and Rob are sitting there listening to his stories, just trying to keep our jaws off the floor because you couldn't believe what he was telling you. It was just so great. Yeah. And that is the thing about St. Louis hockey that I think most people will never understand. And we're getting better at it, but we're a blue collar city and we're a blue collar base. And we treat people with the utmost respect when they earn it. And these guys are the guys that have earned it, and they pay it right back, right? I have heard so many rumors or so many things about when Gretzky goes to Edmonton or to Montreal or Toronto or when he's in some of these other places, very particular about, like, he won't let you take a picture of him getting an autograph or something like that. But in St. Louis, he lets his guard down. And he has that flair about him, and that just kind of tells me what the city means to these guys.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I'll tell you a couple more things about. I'll tell you, about Garry and Wayne. I know Wayne loves St. Louis, and I'll tell you why. Because he's got anonymity here. I mean, I've seen him, been, stood with him or, in restaurants or whatnot, and people just leave him alone. They just don't bother him. And he's able to live a normal life like we do, going out to a restaurant, getting something to eat, being with the friend or friends that you're with, have your meal, and then go home. He gets to live that life when he's here in St. Louis. When he goes anywhere else, he can't. Yeah, he can't do it. And it just doesn't work that way.
But I've heard that of a lot of stars. Oh, sorry about that. My I guess I got an alert on my phone. But I've heard that about a lot of stars. Brett Hull used to say that he could go anywhere, and people, like, when he walked up to a bar, people knew who he was, would wave at him, would let him have a drink. And if, if he did this, they would come over, the little finger wave. Otherwise, they wouldn't come up and ask him anything like that. They would wait for him to invite him. And that's just who we are. And we've been like that the Cardinal way. That's what that is. And I know I talk about this a little bit because I knew how the guys were. That was Stan Musial. That's what Stan Musial brought to St. Louis was this, yes, you see me as this guy, but you also see me as this guy. And as long as you see me as this guy here and out, we're happy and we're going to have a great time. And he taught St. Louis, him, Dizzy Dean, Daffy Dean, some of the legends, Enos Slaughter, they taught St. Louis how to treat your sports stars right. And it translated to the Blues when the Blues came here in '67.
Yeah, I mean, they really do. I mean, they love their sports players, but they also respect their space too. And I think that always doesn't happen in other major sports cities, either in the United States or Canada. I really don't. And so you're right. I think St. Louis is a special place in that regard. And I think a guy like Wayne Gretzky, who's he's the greatest hockey player of all time. And yet he can walk into a restaurant or a bar and sit down with his wife, Janet, and have a meal and not be bothered and then get up and go home. And that's just priceless to a guy like that. It really is.
Yeah. Brian.
So, and that's why he calls home a lot of time of the year.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a testament to St. Louis and the community.
Brian Buckholt says, and this is what I've heard about Wayne too. He says, I ran into Wayne at Boomers. He stayed until the bar closed, ended up on Channel 5 with Mike Bush. The next day for Dan Kelly Memorial Golf Tournament, we were in the same clothes and hadn't shaved, and all night for Wayne in St. Louis. But he was able to do that to see if if he'd have done that in LA or somewhere else, he'd have been all over the tabloid. Right.
Yeah. And that was probably back when he was playing too.
Yeah.
When Brian says boomers, he's dating himself.
Yeah. yeah. So actually,
boomers.
yeah. So I haven't lived in St. Louis since 1987. That's when I joined the Navy and did my 20 years and got stuck out here in Hawaii. And yes, I mean, stuck out here in Hawaii. I can't wait to get home. I miss it so much. But so you guys know about all these places and things that I don't know of because they were all gone by the time I got there. But I am just loving hearing what's going on in the city and all of that and listening to you talk. Can you tell us a little bit about your foundation? And I found out from Rob that you're a cancer survivor too. Is that true?
I am. I'm a 2-time testicular cancer survivor, stage 4. And it happened both times when I was a relatively young man. I was 25 the first time and then 38 the second go around. And so I'll tell you the story. I was, several years later after my second bout, I went to the NHL Winter Classic at Wrigley Field in Chicago. And ironically enough, I brought John Jost with me. And we were up there. We had great seats. We were, as far as a baseball stadium is concerned, I don't think there's really any great seats in a baseball venue for a hockey game. But needless to say, they were probably the best seats you could get. But I remember just going to the game, and I've been to all kinds of sporting events. I've been to Super Bowls, World Series, Final Fours, Frozen Fours, you name it. But there was just something really special about this event, this NHL Winter Classic. I mean, hanging out in downtown Chicago with the snow falling, in Wrigleyville before the game, and people actually getting ready for a hockey game, an outdoor hockey game, and then actually being in the venue with the snow falling and everything else. And I'll tell you, it was like a premonition. It just all came to me in about a 15-second span. I was looking down that ice, and I'm like, wouldn't it be great if I could do this on a local level with just a bunch of beer league guys, my age that probably remember playing pond hockey as young kids or playing in an outdoor hockey rink, which there were so many of back in the day when we were kids, and sort of have that, that remembrance or that nostalgic feeling of having the wind in your face and maybe some snow falling in your eyes and pushing a puck around in the snow. And I thought, you know what, I'll have it at Steinberg Ice Rink. It's the perfect venue. And I said, you know what, and I'll make money doing it. And then I think God corrected me real quick, and he said, no, you'll make money for cancer. And I said, yeah, I'll do it for cancer. So that's how the whole thing came about. I'm not kidding you. It was in about a 30 second stint, sitting in the stands at Wrigley Field watching a hockey game. And so I did the tournament. I'd have 400 hockey players come. It was a 3-day deal. We had 3 sheets of ice carved out on that huge ice surface at Steinberg Ice Rink in Forest Park. A great old, warming house where I had just a tremendous silent auction that would go on all weekend. I'd have entertainment at night, musical acts, bands, and whatnot. And it was just a celebration of hockey, while at the same time, a lot of saw every week at in your beer league too. So yeah. We did it. We did that for 8 years, raised a lot of money for families fighting cancer. And then of course I started the Legends of Hockey dinner series that I would put on probably a week or two right after the tournament. And then I would do that at Fleming Steakhouse to raise a little bit more money for these families that fight cancer. What people don't realize is when someone in the family unit gets cancer, it might be mom or dad or even one of the children. Somebody ends up losing a job over it, either because they're too sick themselves to work, or they have to quit their job and stay home and take care of a loved one who's sick, whether it's their son or daughter or their spouse. So what happens is all of a sudden the bills don't get paid because the income's not coming in like it was. So we'll do things like, I have two social workers that I work with, one at Mercy and one at Siteman. And what they do is that's exactly what they do. They identify these families that are in need, and say there may be a single mother of two who's got breast cancer, and she can't work, and so the gas company turns her gas off. And so what we'll do is the social worker will say, well, give me the account number to the gas company. We'll take care of your gas bill for the next 4 or 5 months, or we'll pay your rent, or we'll pay your mortgage, or we'll fix your car if it's broken down, or we'll pay your medical bills. Whatever it is we can do to alleviate the stress, that financial stress that's already on top of the stress of having cancer. And let me tell you, it's, getting a diagnosis like that can be extremely stressful. So we like that approach. I mean, I think our sponsors, our donors, the people that come to our events really like that approach, that direct impact approach, because they know exactly where the money's going. And that's why I think it's become such a popular foundation and something to get behind. And of course, everybody seems to really love our events that we put on.
Yeah, that's really great. And I apologize, you cut out for a second. I was trying something. I thought it would work, but it didn't. I have up on my screen right now a flyer that we have for our Fight for Heyday. We are going to have, so Haley York was a 7-year-old girl who suffered from a heart defect and pulmonary hypertension. And on February 11th, 2020, the same day that Jay Woolmeester had his incident, she passed away from this. We are doing a Legacy for Heyday at Don Brown Chevrolet on Kings Highway on the 28th of August from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. I do know that we're going to have alumni there. I know this for a fact. I don't know who. I know that Mike Zook has volunteered to show up. I'm looking at getting Hockey Warriors to show up. And if anybody wants, if you're around the area, come on down and check us out. We're going to have some cutouts of hay that you can sign on. A couple of them are going to go to what they call Hayes Fairyland, which is her gravesite, things like that. So if you're out there and about, please come down and check out the event at Don Brown Chevrolet on the 28th of August from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. We're going to do a live 4-hour show. Maybe we can even get Joe to come on during the show.
Well, I'll tell you, please send me some information when we get off the air. And Don Brown is a dear friend of mine. Don and I go way, way back.
Okay.
And he himself has been a big supporter of my events to date. So, please send me some information on that, and would love to stop by and say hello and give you guys some support. Oh, we'd appreciate that. And if you, and I will say this, we do have a couple of items that we're going to auction off. If you have something that you think would be great, please let me know. And, if you could send our way, or, somebody could send something our way, we'd appreciate it. We're going to try to do something kind of interesting. I like silent auctions, but I love live auctions. So we're going to do a combination. So I have, and it's being made right now, I'm going to get a replica of Ed Stanowski's mask he wore with the Blues. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Right? Sure. And we're going to get it signed. Now, I don't know if it'll be signed when we get it, or if we're going to have to wait until after the event to get it signed because of, shipping and delivery time. But what we're going to do is, while the mask is there for the first 2 hours, we're going to have a silent auction out and let people write their name and their bid. And then I'm going to take it and go online live, starting with the silent auction price, the last silent auction price, and go from there. So people that are online watching us can still bid on it. Now, I know there's a 15-second delay. We've talked about that. We're going to work through it. Camera cut out on me, which it does. I can't wait to get my new one. But we're going to be doing that. And with that mask, and I have an alumni hat that's signed by a bunch of alumni, hoping to get a few more items. We're trying to raise, our goal is $15,000 that day.
We look forward to it. And Joe, I just got to say thank you. And I hope I didn't take too much of the time here. Go ahead,
jump
Rob.
in real quick, because I know Joe from way back, and I don't feel like I had a chance to say anything to him. Number one, Joe, you're doing great work. And number one, I know where that comes from. It comes from your dad and Joe Fresta Sr. and all the great work that he's done here in St. Louis. So, number one, I thank you for making a real difference. But like paying the gas bill, it's not just giving someone a check. It's like really helping people at a real organic level. And to me, I think that's really special. And I just want to say, man, I thank you for that, because people who are faced with that kind of problem, that's a real problem, not being able to pay your gas bill, and I don't think some people really realize that. So, kudos for you, and kudos to your father for all the work he's done here in St. Louis to make it's such a great place to be.
Well, thanks for those kind words. Yeah, I mean, hey, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? So, yeah, I learned a lot from my father and my mother, of course, and yeah, I'm just happy to do it. I mean, I was fortunate enough to beat that that dreaded disease, and I'm still here. So I'm more than happy to give back, and I think that's exactly why I'm here on this earth still is to do just that. But you mentioned that
a lot of people are behind you, Joe. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I know that.
Well, I thank you. I think I'm really thankful for that, because I know it's not just me. It takes a whole bunch of people to make these things go. So, yeah, but you mentioned Ed Stanowski. You do know that he is a captain in the Canadian Air Force.
Yes, we do. Okay. He's a
There
lieutenant. He's a lieutenant colonel. We've had some amazing conversations with him.
He's a great guy. I've met him a couple of times.
Yeah.
Ironically, with Garry. So we've had breakfast a couple times and whatnot, and just a really good guy. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, probably the best Blues goalie mask of all time. Yeah,
it's up there. I really like Cujo's. I thought Cujo's with the biting dog was nice, but the two
the Blue Notes,
two masks, the Blue Notes going the opposite way. The Salmons came down to him and they were upset because opposite way he was right. It can't go that way. Well, it's the only way to work on that. Didn't mean any disrespect about it, but to me, that's what makes it even more iconic. It was one of those first masks that was painted up and it blue. That was actually got there because some paint, so they had to make it look like they couldn't get it off, so they made it look like a tear.
Yeah, it's such a simple mask. The two, that's it, on white mask, in opposite directions over the. It's pretty clever. Of course, it was just it was right on spot. I mean, he knew what he was doing. He's got a little artistic talent in his repertoire there too. But yeah, it might be right up there with one of the best masks of all time in the NHL.
Oh, I agree. And to think that someone's going to get a replica that's signed, actually great. So, Joe, we're going to have to cut this short because my internet is telling me that it doesn't want to play nice today. But I want to thank you so much. And you have an open invitation. Anytime that you want to come talk hockey, send me or send Rob here a message and we'll get up with you. You've becoming a great friend of mine. And I appreciate so much that you're willing to reach out to somebody like me who you really don't know and say, hey, man, I like what you're talking about. And I like that you talk about Garry Unger and that. And that means a lot to me because St. Louis is in my blood and it's not going anywhere. And
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The last thing I got to do this. When I go to St. Louis, there are 3 restaurants that I go to every single time. I go to Lion's Choice because I worked there as a kid and I absolutely love it. I go to Emo's because there's nothing better than St. Louis style pizza. And then I go to the Pasta House because I'm getting my toasted raviolis and I order them they're not an appetizer to me. That's the whole meal.
There you go. You can't go wrong with that. That's for sure.
Absolutely not.
And I really appreciate it. And going back to Garry Unger, I really do hope that the Blues you decide to go ahead and kind of do what the St. Louis Cardinals did and finally retire Ted Simmons' number. For two guys that basically played, in St. Louis right alongside each other on the two different professional sports teams. So hopefully the Blues will follow that example and do the right thing and put Garry Unger up in the rafters where he belongs.
I will never forget. I'm pretty sure it was Ted Simmons when he won World Series MVP in '82. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, he hit a home run in Game 1. I remember over the right field wagon gate at Old Busch Stadium when they got shellacked like 9-1. Yeah, and I remember being at that game. I go, oh, geez, we're gonna get blasted in this series. But as we all know, that's not what happened, and the Cardinals came back around and won that first World Series in a long time.
Yeah, that '82 was a special team, and I remember Simmons getting the car for that. So that was great. Hey, again, Joe, thank you so much for showing up. I'll give you a call here. I'll give you a call here in a. I'll give you a call here in a little bit after we're done with our show, or I'll call you tomorrow and we'll talk a little bit. But thank you so much, and I'll forward stuff to the Haley stuff to you. And Brian Buchholz has got one last thing to say. Joe lives the same way he played hockey. When he has his mindset on accomplishing something, he gets it done. And you know what? That's how I'm feeling about the Fan Report and the Fan Report Media Group. We got our mindset on being a different style media, and we're going to get out there and do it. And Joe is proof of that. So, Joe, thank you so much. And you got to know that we're bleeding blue with you, my friend.
Oh, I appreciate that very much. And know that it's a two-way street. Anytime you guys you want me to have me on, I'm more than willing to come on. We'll make time and make that happen for sure.
Well, we do something that nobody else does. We do a live pregame, intermission, and postgame for Blues games. We would love, and I know you don't want to be on video, but we would love to have you on for one of those with the upcoming season, so people can really get a feel from an expert opinion on what we're seeing on the ice. What do you think about? Do you think you could do that for us one game?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, sure. I'd be more than happy to do that. During the course of the year, just reach out.
We will do that, and that'll be absolutely fun. So again, Joe, I say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I say aloha and mahalo for coming on with us. I know Rob says the same thing, and I know he like mad that I won't shut up. But again, Joe, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later.
See you, dude.
All right, guys. Have a great evening, and again, thanks for having me on, and God bless all of you.
Thank you, Joe. Bye now. Okay, everyone. That was Joe Fresta of. Oh my goodness, I'm in awe, man. What an interview! What a conversation.
Yep, he's great.
That was top notch, Joe. Thank you.
We never even got the chance to talk to him about Italian food. There's nobody who knows Italian food better.
You know what?
Than Joe
because
Fresta.
There's a reason for that, though.
Whoa.
Because I sent him when we asked what we wanted to talk about. I had said, we can talk about all that pasta house food you're going to send to me. And he says, no, let's stick to hockey. So I did stick to hockey, even though he come back and said it. So I kept my promise. He asked me to stick to hockey. Now, next time we'll talk all about the Italian food. Right, because there will be a next time, and we already know that. Rob, that was awesome.
I'm going to tell you this. You cannot leave the pasta house and feel like you got a bad meal. You can't do it.
No.
It's
and I wanted to tell him this, and I'm hoping he's still watching. I'm hoping he might be still watching. The first toasted raviolis my daughter's ever had at the pasta house.
Yeah, they do good.
So you got to understand, when my kids were born, they were both born in Illinois, and we moved when they were 1 and 2 years old to Japan. So they didn't understand what St. Louis was. And when they were about 3 and 4, 4 and 5, somewhere in that zone, we were in St. Louis for a period. Actually, I think they were 2 and 3. Okay. So it was my youngest's second birthday, or right around her second birthday. We were there for Christmas, and we took my daughters, and they split it. They made them, they were so great about this. They went and split the spaghetti half the spaghetti in one bowl, half the spaghetti in another bowl. The 6 ravioli, split them up for the girls. The girls could not stop raving about the raviolis. They were like, "Oh my God, these are good. These are so good. These are so good."
Man.
They brought them. Didn't even act. They brought them more raviolis, right?
You know what? The thing that was okay. So they have these big tables, and by the end of them, you'll see like there's just food all over the table, and people sitting back. Oh, it's so great. I mean, I gotta tell you, they got the sports on the TV. The servers are always so cool. You never hardly have to wait. They're just good folks. So I don't endorse them.
No, and like I said, those are the 3 restaurants that I hit when I'm in town. No matter what, I gotta hit them. I gotta have them raviolis because I eat raviolis everywhere. You know, this to me, there's no other food.
I gotta tell you this now. This is something we didn't get a chance to talk to Joe about. So you know who Stanley Tucci is? He's the big time actor.
Yeah, he just got to meet him.
He's doing the show about Italian food. Well, he came to St. Louis, and Joe Fresta was the one to host him.
Yeah. That was. I seen the picture they did together.
Yeah, like he doesn't just show up. Joe knows his stuff. So
great
guest. Would love him to get.
Yeah, that was, and well, if you're on his Facebook page, he posts some of these food pictures that are, oh my goodness, man, they're just amazing. E says he's never been to Pasta House. Well, E, we're going to take care of that. Yeah, we'll take care of that. When you come up for that weekend, we will take you to Pasta House. E, I promise you that. Absolutely promise you that. Rob, let's you want to get back into hockey for a little bit?
A couple minutes, then I gotta.
Okay, well, if you gotta go, that's fine. But we'll ask you guys. We'll kind of open the. We'll open the phones up.
Had a great time with this interview, man. It was great.
Okay.
I get, I love interviews. I get a lot of energy. Yeah. So I'm going to talk to all you guys next time. Wrap it up. And
tomorrow.
Wait, I do have to say one thing.
Yeah.
Because during the break, when you were off with Joe, I made a couple comments that I think you're going to want to answer to. And I said that you had said that you had heard through the blah, 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 that Tarasenko wasn't happy. And I was like, well, who are these sources you're hearing this from? Because it's like, and you know me, you and me, we go back and forth. I'm not trying to ride you up, but it's like, I'm not asking you to give away your sources. But it's just like, it's kind of like ambiguous. Like, who would say this?
You know what? And this is something that a lot of people don't understand. And I didn't completely understand it until I started doing this. There's a method to everyone's madness. Mm-hmm. And you get told things that people want out. They don't want people to know who let it out. I guarantee you this, okay? I guarantee you this. And not only that, in order to maintain level of trust, there's things that I get told that I know I can say in certain ways that it won't come back to this person, but I get told it off the record. And when I get told something off the record, I keep it there. Okay. Right? If someone tells me it's on the record, I'll mention their name. But until they tell me that, I'm going to keep it private.
So now,
okay, now if because you and me have a relationship where I can tell you that, I will. But I'm not going to put it out on the show. Okay. Now, either A, you trust what I'm talking about, or B, you don't. That's up to you. That's absolutely up to you. And here you go. Ashley goes right there. Proof in the pudding. Joe even said Tarasenko had been unhappy going back to the Yo period. So that backs up my source. That backs up the source that I said Tarasenko wasn't happy in the locker room. There were issues with the team, but it backs it up.
Here's where you're going to hate me and you're going to fucking stab me.
No.
I'm going to tell you, though.
Yeah.
And don't take this the wrong way, but
yeah.
Why is it that you're the only one reporting this? No one else is.
Well, you know what? Because here's the thing that I don't have. I don't have a personal relationship with the Blues media office.
Which is good. Good.
Okay. Because I don't have a personal relationship with the Blues media office, because they are pushing us out, not letting us in like they are the others. They're looking at us differently. I can say I can put this out because you know what's going to come back. You're not letting me in anyway, so are you going to start letting me in? Because you know, if you're going to let me in, but you're going to let me in and say, "Hey, back off on some of this," that's fine. But right now, you're not letting me in at all, so I'm going to report what I know.
So, but see, this isn't. I'm not saying about that. And I'm not even challenging you. I'm just trying to like.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair.
I'm not saying anything about your sources or I'm saying like. Okay. And there have been times when you said things that did actually play out. Like, okay, yeah, all right, yeah, okay. So more news came out and you were the first to say about Tarasenko not being happy and things weren't right. And then all of a sudden that storyline became the narrative. I'll give you credit on that, okay? But I'm thinking on some things like the Berube stuff, and like you come up and say, well, he's not the right guy. You give all these stats. But then like an ex-player like Reed Lowe jumps in and says, you're crazy. That doesn't make sense. So that's what I'm saying. Like, no one else is reporting that Berube's on the hot seat. Does that make you not right? I'm just saying, it's like, I would feel better if other people.
I have never. First of all, I have never ever said Berube's on the hot seat.
Okay.
I have said might be a bit under the gun. I have said that.
Okay.
Now that can be taken in a lot of different contexts, right? You can take being under the gun is about to get fired. You can take it as being under pressure. You can take it as there's things going on that are forcing your decisions. There's different ways to take that. When I said I thought he was a bit under the gun, people took it to mean I thought he was going to get fired. But I was saying, and if you read the article, that he was under a lot of pressure to be better this year.
Yeah, and he didn't manage the team right. I get you.
And,
I understand where you're coming from.
And he didn't. I have never said that he was on a hot seat. I will back my words. You go read any article I've written. You go watch any of the shows. I've never said he's on a hot seat.
But
hold on, no. You can't sit there and throw a dart at me and not let me answer.
No. But here's what I'm getting at. Here's what I'm getting at. Okay, so the team works with accredited media, and they're controlling the message, and they're controlling what's going on, and that's how they like it. They like it that way.
Yes.
So here, all of a sudden, we're coming in, we're kind of disrupting things. We're like saying, wait a minute, this doesn't really add up. Hey, wait a minute, the medical staff. Hey, wait a minute, Berube. And I'm think that because we're the voice of the fan, are we getting rubbed out by the team? Because we're not
you know what?
taking a company line.
And here it comes. Mm-hmm. If that's the case, then that's on the Blues, not us. Because straight up, media is just that. Media, to report what you see, not to control the narrative. Why? I am not trying to control a narrative. Believe it or not, I am not controlling a narrative. I am using what I think is my eye test. And I have stuck with that. I have stuck with that. Rob, you've known me for 7 months now, right?
I'll give you credit on that. You have.
I have stuck with the eye test, and I have said how I listen to a game. I have said how I watch a game. I've told you that. Now that's a secret. It's a secret how someone watches the game.
Okay.
It really is. Because if everyone knows how I watch a game, they can do the same thing. They can make their own mind. They don't need me. I'm pushing myself out of a job. Right? And this is I've stopped doing everything else, even though I'm not making a dime on this yet. This is my job. The Fan Report Media Group is my job. Rob, you know this. You know this from private conversations.
Yeah, I'm not challenging you.
Okay, I know you're not. But I'm being honest here. I'm letting you out. I know it sounds like I'm being argumentative. I'm not. This is my personality. Okay? My personality's coming out a little bit. My passion coming out a little bit.
So can I and I don't want to give people a peek behind the curtain, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. We've contacted the Blues 3 to 4 different times about current situations that required that we gave them an opportunity. Hey, we want you to give your side of the story. Come on for 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Zero. Radio silence, nobody. And that's what I mean. It's like, so we're reporting these things. We're saying this isn't passing the eye test. But the accredited media are saying, "Oh, you guys are stupid. You're not smart enough to report that. We're the accredited media." I think it's all bullshit. And
No, you're right. But you know what?
Throwing shade on
No,
you.
no.
I'm not
You're
throwing
right.
shade on you.
No,
I'm throwing
and that's
shade on the
fine.
team. I'm throwing shade
Yeah,
on the team.
that's fine. I'm still going to sit there with my eye test because my eye test has been damn near perfect.
Sure,
And
sure.
with 2,400 eyes, my eye has been damn near perfect. When I've seen things, and I tell you what, I caught something Joe said. He said, I don't think it's Berube's fault, but when I hit that thing about not playing players that he should have played, did he step back? Did he step back? Right? And okay, maybe you're right there. But he tried to ring himself in, but he had to step back because he admitted that I was right, that it is Berube's job to coach the players that he has, to put them in positions to succeed.
So, and
Again, no, Rob, I'm not saying I'm end all, know all. I'm not saying that.
But it does. I will tell you, because I've been on the show with you, and I love you to death, dude. Again, this is not personal, but you do like to let people know when you're right. You do that.
Well, okay. You know what? But doesn't Jim Thomas do that? Doesn't hold on? Doesn't Tom Timmerman do that? Does Oric do that? Doesn't
I don't do a show with them. I don't know.
Jim Rutherford do that in their articles, right?
Rutherford.
Jim Rutherford. I love the guy.
Jeremy Rutherford.
Jeremy Rutherford. I'm sorry. Jeremy Rutherford.
The goalie coach.
Yeah. Jeremy Rutherford is famous. In fact, I've picked up on it from him of going, in case you missed it, I wrote about this situation 2 weeks ago. Read it here. Right? So yeah. When you have an idea, now he broke the story on Tarasenko. I get that, right? He broke the story on Tarasenko.
Did he break it, or was that delivered to him?
I don't know, and I've said different things about that, right? But I wrote based on what I knew about Tarasenko wanting to trade, and I wrote, and unfortunately this didn't get read enough, but I put 4 different reasons why this situation was happening. And I'll tell you what, if Jeremy and Jim Thomas and a few others didn't write the exact same thing a week later. Now, they did not copy from me. I'm not saying that. Okay, that is not what I'm saying. I'm saying, but they went and talked about.
You're a few days ahead of them on your thinking.
Yes, that they went and talked about the same style of things that I talked about, right? So they talked about the medical staff a little bit. They talked about this, the things that I talked about. All I'm saying is I'm not the effing idiot everybody thinks I am.
No, that's not that at all.
No. I get where you're coming from, but I do, while I may not have inside sources, I do have some inside sources.
Perfect. That's good. You should have.
And I do have knowledge. And I have an eye test. When I watch a game, I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter if I watch the game from way up high, press box level, or if I watch it from the second row, or I watch it from the 20th row, or I watch it in a private box. It doesn't matter where I watch it. I watch it the exact same way. Because there is so much that you can see if you open your eyes. Yeah. Now, there's a book out, and there's a book out called Don't Watch the Puck, Silly, right? That author I have talked to twice about coming on the show, but just never really pushed it. I'm going to talk to him and see if I can get him to come on the show to talk about his book, right? I'm working on Greg Wierzinski, and I think I'm saying his last name right. Greg Wierzinski from ESPN. Yeah. I'm working on him. Tomorrow we might have Reed Lowe. Reed is traveling right now, so it's a 50-50 whether or not we get him on. So if he doesn't come on, we'll just continue talking what we're talking. Maybe we'll do if he doesn't come on, we'll do our banter on that day. Yeah. Wednesday we have the draft. Thursday is kind of open right now. Rob, I think we were both at 101.1 last year. to be questioned about the Blues, and what we wanted out of ESPN Radio for the Blues. I don't know. Rob, were you there?
I do. No, I do listen to 101. I don't remember. Maybe I call
Brian. You know what? Hey, Brian. Would you be willing to come on a show tomorrow? I mean, if we're open tomorrow, do you think you can come on the show? Do you have a laptop set up or some type of setup to where we could bring you on the show with video or audio only? Now that I know I got my phone working right, if that's possible. Okay, Jordan. Sorry about the level 8 headache. I didn't mean to give it to you. You get better, and hopefully we'll get some more items sold on the store so we can get you being our shipping agent. We love you, Jordan. We love you a lot. Can't wait. And we'll talk more about Haley later too. But Brian, we would love to have you on the show to talk about this and to even go over some of the comments after 6 p.m. Yes, I could about 6:30. Actually, for us, 8 p.m. your time is the best because it works for me because that's 3 p.m. my time. Any earlier, and it kind of draws me into a internet drawback. So we would love that. Train some players at Wentzville. I'm not sure. So if we could tomorrow at 8, let me know, Brian. You can send me a private message because I know you got my stuff there, Brian. Great show, man. We went 2 hours, just short of 2 hours. Really good show tonight. And no, did I answer your questions, Rob?
Yeah,
I mean, did I answer?
What my point is that anybody who's reporting news based on hearsay and rumors and stuff like that, understand that, you can't survive on that. You need to have some hard fact things. So I'm just going to hold you accountable on that stuff. That's all.
Hey, Brian, I'm not going to be able to get your email off of here. Can you, my email is guy@stlfanreport.com. I'll run it across the banner here for a few moments. I think I got it somewhere. Here we go. Yeah, I'll run that. So you can email right there. One of the problems right now that I'm working on with my email is it goes to people's junk boxes and they don't get it. So it's an issue I have to work with.
I'm going to jump off.
Okay.
Too, so
No, we're going to cut loose here in a second. I just, Brian, you're the one who runs the program that plays Blues Warriors. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Because Chris, I'm talking to them about me covering that event that's coming up. So that's really cool. So, so we really did enjoy the night, Rob. Thank you so much. Everybody, you did great tonight. What a great guest. I'm going to put this show on the website. So you can go to the website under the current Blue Note Fan Report and share it out. I would absolutely love you doing that. Let's get some more views of this show on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on whatever. But it's a great show, and we love you. And you know what, Rob? This is what makes the show great. You can challenge me, and I challenge right back. And when I challenge you, you challenge me right back. And that's what we are. This is Guy and a Stag saying aloha, mahalo. We love each and every one of you. We're bleeding blue with you. I can't wait to see you on the next Blue Note Fan Report. Aloha.